Hi guys, I welcome you all to day 38 of our anthropology lecture series. So we were already doing topic 2.5 and today we will conclude the topic kinship, that is. So let's get started. We had already completed the basic terminologies, the unilineal descent groups, then bilineal and then kindred and kinship terminologies. So last topics will be filiation, complementary filiation, kinship behavior, and then the exchange rules. We'll talk about it today. So let's get started. So basically when we talk about filiation, so filiation is allocation to a descent group, right? So अभी तक basically हम क्या पढ़ रहे थे? For example, this is a family which have like these are the kids, right? And then this person marries to somebody else and now he has kids, right? So basically if I have to talk about this person, how this person allocates himself to his descent group. Descent we know na, descent and alliances we were talking about. Basically kinship दो चीज़ों से ही बनता है, descent which is your by blood and alliances which is by your marriage. So in descent groups this person is how related to any person in the grouping would be his filiation, right? जैसे हम if we read the filial generation number 1, then filial generation 2, for example इसमें filial generation 1 would be this, then filial generation 2 would be this would be filial generation 3. So like that, how you are, in which place you are located in the descent group is called your filiation. So this filiation is important for your line of inheritance, obviously, because this person will ultimately inherit the property of his father. He must have acquired the property of his father. So like that, it is important for his economic property as well as political office if there is any, religious office if there is any. That means the legacy, the whole inheritance thing, right? Material, non-material, everything. And then so this kind of grouping is more political and hierarchical. Obviously for example हम इसको एक example से we try to understand this with some kind of an example. For example this is a family of political, it's a dynasty, okay, जो rule करते हैं, ठीक है, kings he was a king. So of course after him who will inherit or who will become the next king? It would be his son, right? So and similarly it would be his son after he dies. So this is a grouping which is going to solve our issues related to inheritance of property, your ritual office, your political office, military office. Basically ये थोड़ा political and hierarchical होता है. So this all we have done in the descent. अभी तक by far in descent grouping we were reading about this only, right? In unilineal descent groups we were reading about this only. So then another term came in, that is complementary filiation. Why? Because हम बात कर रहे थे अभी तक in the unilineal descent groups, important members of the family are not integrated in the grouping. For example इसमें ही देख लो, the role of mother is minimal. Similarly mother की family का क्या role है, मामा जी, नाना जी, ऐसा उनका, their role is missing in this, right? So here came in the concept of complementary filiation. So this concept was given by M. Fortes through his study on Talensi of Ghana. So this tribe he studied and he saw that okay, there is one concept which is filiation, through which your political office, all your economic activities are going to be governed, how the rules of descent are going to be. But apart from that there are other members also in the grouping, in the kin group, which are important, who serve certain purpose in the grouping. So they are also important, and based on the study of Talensi of Ghana he came on this conclusion. So he said societies with unilineal descent groups recognize kinship lines with relatives who do not belong to their own descent group, right? So for example इसमें बात आ गई, जैसे for example मामा जी, right? If we draw a small picture here, फॉर एग्जाम्पल ये मदर है, ये मदर का ब्रदर है, राइट, एंड देन दिस इज द चाइल्ड. नाउ ही इज इनहेरिटिंग everything from his father's family, right, but then this mama ji has an important role to play, right. So these people who do not belong to your own descent group, obviously इसका descent group तो यहाँ पर है, right, he is not the member of his descent group, but then he is also important. He is important because he will provide him the emotional, personal feelings. It is important for their emotional security, for their personal feelings. कैसे? For example, at the time of any problem in the family, right, who is going to stand with this person? जब if there is any crisis kind of situation, it is the mama ji who is going to stand up first with the family, right. So उससे क्या होता है, there is stability, there is more emotional relationship, even though this person is not related to the family in any descent grouping, right. Sorry, but he has a very important role to play, because any time, whether it is in ceremonies, whether it is a crisis situation, this person is going to always help this group, because he is related to this group through a very important member, that is her sister, that is his sister, right. So this is what complementary filiation is all about, that societies जहाँ पे unilineal descent group है, right, वहाँ पे आपके emotional security, आपके personal feelings के लिए there are other people in the kin group who are not directly in your descent, but even then they play a important role, and that is what is known as complementary filiation. I hope you understood it, otherwise I will just explain it to you once more. Basically जो भी हो रहा है, we do not cut ties with the family of our if for example we are patriarchal society, that means everything is with father's family, right, but ऐसा तो नहीं है कि हम we cut ties with the mother's family. They are also important members of the family, right. Any occasion, any crisis, anything, they come up as a solid, rock solid people in the group, right. So that means complementary filiation it is, even though हमारा descent किसी और group से है, but then they are very important. They come in where more emotional needs are fulfilled by them, whereas filiation is a more political, hierarchical grouping, right. So I think now I am making myself clear. Now comes the next topic, which is kinship behavior. Now basically हमने kins के बारे में बात की है. Kins are basically the people who are related to you either by marriage, either by blood, and then we had studied about kinship terminology also, how they call each other, and that calling is also gives us a point of view of the status and roles associated with them. For example, if the time we say mama, it is known that mama plays a very important role at the time of marriage. Solemnization of marriage में mama has an important role to play, right. When we talk about बुआ की importance अलग होती है. When we talk about दादा के roles अलग हैं, status अलग है. So they are not just words, they are feelings, because they have status to it, they have roles associated to it, and so is the kinship behavior. That means people, for example, there is जैसे हम बोलते हैं ससुर और father in law and daughter in law, right, उनका relationship is very different from what you say जीजा साली का relationship, right. So we do not think in this perspective, but this is what anthropology is all about. It thinks about everything, right. So basically it refers to permanent and definite patterns of behavior. You will see more or less in India अगर हम बात करें, the relationship of father-in-law and daughter-in-law will be pretty much the same, right. And then in different cultures it is different, but more or less these are the 5-6 kind of kinship behaviors that are there. For example, avoidance क्या होता है? Basically you do not talk to the other kin very freely, and there is a certain barrier that is there. For example, इसमें आप ले सकते हो father in law and daughter in law, right? North India mein this is there. Then brother and sister in Vedas. So this is because they want to either stop, slow down ki they should know no incest kind of a situation should arise in the grouping, because again incest is a negative prescription. That means you cannot do this in the families because it will then disintegrate the families disrupt ho jayenge. So incest is a negative prescription. So any person who is bound to or can have that kind of relationship, wahan pe avoidance takes place. For example, brother sister in Vedas, or father-in-law and daughter-in-law. So father-in-law and daughter-in-law, it can be either the daughter-in-law will always come with a dupatta on the head, cover her head when comes, and wo directly baat nahi karenge. So this is first kind of relationship. The second would be joking relationship. That is there between, you can say, devar bhabhi or jija sali, right? So basically this is a safety valve mechanism, because when you tend to live in a new group, in a bigger group, in extended families, there are people from different families. For example, a new bhabhi comes in the family, right? If I say a bhabhi has come in the family, so usse kya hoga, there will be change of dynamics in the family, and there are bound to be adjustments that has to be made. So with those adjustments, there could be sometimes that a friction is there. So to stop that or to dissolve that kind of friction, a safety valve mechanism is there. That means you can say things in sarcastic way to each other and then in a joking way, and then the things can dissolve. So that is a joking kind of relationship, which is more or less seen in devar bhabhi and jija sali. Then avunculate. Avunculate is a relationship between ego and the mother's brother, right? So हमको पता है mother's brother is a very important person, right? So all the roles and status attached to mother's brother is avunculate. Then kuved. Kuved is a very you can say a very unusual, not followed in every tribe or in the modern society. Where, certain few tribes follow it. Basically इसमें होता क्या है, the husband imitates the behavior of the wife at the time of childbirth. तो जब for example it happens in Todas, so what they do is na, they follow the husband imitates the wife. They also cry, and they also try to do the labor pain, so that the female becomes a lot more comfortable and she is able to easily deliver the child. So this is also a kinship behavior. मतलब ये mandatory है, जो tribes follow करते हैं, they will do it, right? And then is imitate. Imitate is father's sister. So father's sister, that is Bua ji, she also has an important role to play at various occasions. For example, in ceremonies, weddings. So kinship behavior, Bua के साथ भी एक different kind of relationship is there. And the last is technonymy. Basically technonymy में क्या होता है, there is use of symbols, or you will address the person in third person to talk to each other. For example, it is seen in husband and wife, and in North India, in Indian culture also it is seen that the wife will never call the husband by his name. She will always say some other name to call her, like बच्चों के पापा ऐसे बुक्स में लिखा हुआ है, राइट? सो आई कुड नॉट फाइंड अ गुड नेम. सो दीज ऑल आर द वेज, or these are the kinship behaviors, and these all come from the role attached to kinship system and the status attached to it, right? Because आप कभी भी father in law से direct बात नहीं करोगे, because he is the head of the household, he is a respected person in the grouping. So all this thing you need to understand. Now we come to our next topic and the last topic for the chapter itself. It's the alliance theory. Basically अभी तक हम जो भी पढ़ रहे थे, whatever we were reading, it was more or so related to descent. अभी तक whatever we read, it was descent based, right? That means kinship के दो parts है ना, by blood, by marriage. How do you create a grouping? Either by blood or through marriage. But we were just studying about how by blood the kinship ties are there, right? But now we will study the marriage part of it, because with marriage also there are new groups that join your family, right? So that is what we are going to read. This theory was propounded by Claude Lévi-Strauss in his book The Elementary Structure of Kinship. So basically Claude Lévi-Strauss gave this idea that descent के अलावा alliance play a major role in kinship. In kinship, even marriages play an important role. So he said basically, if I have to give you a brief theory of what he said, let's come here. So he was saying that हमने पहले भी पढ़ा है कि when in the course of evolution man started to live in groups. Wait, let me change the color. Let's take white. Yes. So yeah. So basically there was anarchy. Because in starting man has understood कि we need to live in social groups. Social groups में रहने की ज़रूरत तो है. So when they started to live in social groups, they understood that okay, now we need to have certain rules. To live in these social groups, we need to have certain kind of rules also. So those rules came in the form of culture, marriage, family, right? So all these were rules, na? For example, incest, there was a negative prescription that okay, incest is not going to happen. You cannot indulge in incest. Then there will be maybe exogamy for some groups, right? So these were all the rules that gave a structure to the overall society. This gave the structure to the overall society. So what Claude Lévi-Strauss believes is that the earlier societies that were made, that were structured also, were patrilineal societies. So सबसे पहले the initial groupings that came in were patrilineal groupings, right? So in patrilineal groupings, obviously it's a male dominated kind of society, and they understood that if you have to survive, you need to constantly increase your alliances. अब हमने, what have we learned from history? Every great ruler that there was at any time, be it Ashoka, Akbar, they had a lot of wives, which meant alliances. That means if you have alliances, you diffuse enmity खत्म हो जाती है, right? You make new friends, right? New friends बनते हैं, उससे आपका group strengthen होता है, right? So you strengthen your group. So उससे क्या होता है? Because आपकी survivability increase होती है, right? So this is all what Claude Lévi-Strauss was saying, कि earlier societies were patriarchal and then they wanted to increase their survivability. So for that they needed alliances. And alliances कैसे हो सकती थी? When there was certain exchange that was taking place. So now what to exchange now? There was three things that could be exchanged. First thing was they could either exchange goods and services. First thing, they could exchange goods and services. Second thing, they could exchange ideas. Third thing, they could exchange men and women. So now what happened is, societies were agricultural. So more or less they were producing the same kind of things, and there was no scope of exchange of goods and services because they were all producing more or less similar things. So first thing got out. Second is ideas. Again, so the societies were not that complex ki philosophical and metaphysical ideas were there. It was not like that. Societies were more or less very simple and they did not have very different ideas of life or anything to share, right? So exchange of ideas also got out. Then remained the only option, that is exchange of men and women. Now this could have been done, and because the societies were patrilineal, so the only option was exchange of women. So this is how the alliance theory came in, and this is Claude Lévi-Strauss idea of alliance theory. So I hope you understood it. So now what it says basically, that exchange of human among groups. So he believed that there was anarchy, so a social contract was needed, and there was dualism of mind. That means our group and their group. Because क्या होता है कि now this we will understand because this will take a lot of time. So let's understand it in the chapter 6 when we will read about Claude Lévi-Strauss. But just understand that with complexity increasing, people started believing in duality of mind. That means there was always ours and theirs. For example, you have a group, you have a family, you will always believe it to be one unit as against the others. So from that only the anarchy comes in, na? From there only the insecurities come in. For that only you need security, and to increase survivability you need to add people to your group. That is the whole idea it is. So he said that earlier societies were patrilineal and there was negative prescription of incest taboo. So then came in the exchange of women. Just go back, see the video again of the whole alliance theory which I have explained right now, and I am sure you will be able to understand it. So basically अभी हमने this we have decided कि एक kinship is based on two things, that is kinship is based on two things, and that is descent and alliance. In alliance we have talked about Claude Lévi-Strauss's theory of alliance, right? And उसमें he was talking about exchange of women. So now this exchange of women कितने तरीके से हो सकता है, how many ways of there are, मतलब how many ways are there to exchange women, we are going to read about that. So first is restricted or reciprocal, which means that in this there are only two groups that are involved. You can imagine a moiety like situation. जैसे होता है ना, tribe is divided into moieties. Moieties are only two because moiety itself means half. So if there are only two groups in a society, then maybe this kind of exchange will follow. So in this, the groups are wife givers and receivers in the same generation. Okay, I'll show you that. And इसकी example आप ले सकते हो bilateral cross cousin marriage. Let me just draw this and show it to you. For example, now, yeah, so let's take the example. They are married and this is group 2. They are married. They are brothers and sisters and they are brothers and sisters. So now what is happening? This is, for example, they have 2 children. Let's take the example. Just let me just. So हम इस ego के perspective से चीज़ देख रहे हैं, right? So father is this, mother is this. This is mama, क्योंकि he is mother's brother, and this is mami. This is mami, right? But this mami is bua also, because father's sister it is. So what they did, this group, for example, this is, let me just mark it for you. Yeah, this group is one group and this group would be group number 2, right? Group A, group B. So in this group they got a sister, इन्होंने sister दी अपनी, so they got a wife. Let me make it more clearly. Yeah, with this only I'll do. So they gave a wife, as in they gave a sister, and they also gave a sister to this group. So in the same group, in the same generation, that is this filial generation only, they are getting a girl also and sending a girl also. So if it happens in the same generation, that would be wife giver and receiver in the same generation. So this is restricted exchange, but this can only happen where the societies are very simple. There is no much complexity, that is only 2 groups are there, so they exchange wives between each other. So they will give also, wife giver भी होंगे, wife receiver भी होंगे in the same generation, and next generation भी same it will follow. Next is generalized exchange. Now in this there are more than two groups. That means a fratry kind of situation, because tribe आएगी, then tribe के नीचे there will be moieties, then moieties will be divided into fratries, and then the complexity even grows, फिर lineages आ जाएंगे, फिर clans आ जाएंगे, like that. So in the complex kind of grouping, generalized or asymmetric exchanges follow. अब asymmetric में भी there are two kind of exchanges. First is continuous exchange. That means there is only flow of मतलब girls will be only in one direction in all generations. Do not worry, I am going to make a diagram and make you understand. Just listen for now. तो example क्या है? Matrilineal cross cousin marriage in patrilineal family. Now just see this. Let me draw it. Okay, so this is, let us suppose, clan A, this is clan B, this is clan C, this is clan D. I need to move it a bit. Wait guys, I need space, so let me start it here. A, this is B, this is C, and this is D. ठीक है? So now for example, they are brother sister, then let me draw here, they are brother sister, they are brother sister, and they are brother sister. ठीक है? So now in the first generation क्या हो रहा है? He will marry this person, he will marry this person, he will marry this person, and so on. So basically if we see the direction, तो direction हो रहा है, they are giving a girl to this clan, they are, C is giving a girl to B clan, D is giving a girl to C clan. So you can see the flow of direction, and A अपने पीछे वाले ग्रुप को देगा, right? So this is the direction that is there. In the next generation, same will apply. That means if now they have children, that means basically ये A, अब ये A clan में आ गई है. This lady has come into clan A, right? So if they have children, like right, let me just draw, sorry, this is a circle, this is a triangle, this is a circle, and this is a triangle, and so on will go for this person also, right? So now again they will marry, they will marry, they will marry. Now just look at the direction. Again they are giving a girl to this, they are giving a girl to this, they are giving a girl to this. So अब ये लेडी तो A क्लैन में आ गई है, राइट? सो अभी तक यहाँ तक A क्लैन चल रहा है, फिर यहाँ पे B क्लैन चल रहा है, यहाँ पे C क्लैन चल रहा है. सो नाउ यू सी अगेन B इज गिविंग गर्ल टू A, C इज गिविंग गर्ल टू B, D इज गिविंग गर्ल टू C. सो डायरेक्शन ऑफ वाइफ गिवर या रिसीवर एक ही टाइप का है, राइट? सो एवरी टाइम B विल गिव अ गर्ल टू A, C will give a girl to B. So this is the direction. ये हो गया symmetrical. That means continuous exchange हो रहा है, right? This is continuous exchange. Then comes the discontinuous exchange. इसमें क्या होता है? Exchange of women not in the same direction. So it changes. ठीक है? तो इसकी example है patrilineal cross cousin marriage in matrilineal society. Okay. So let me just draw this also. Again we will take the white color and we try to draw it. A, B, C, D. Again let's make, right, they are brother sister, brother sister, brother, sisters and brother, I should say sister and brother, sister and brother, right? So like this. Now in the first generation the same thing is happening. That means let's assume that in the first generation B is giving girl to A, C is giving girl to B, D is giving girl to C, right? So now let's draw the next generation. Next generation again. So ये basically अभी तो ये lady अब A clan में आ गई है. Now they are having kids. Again they are having kids. They are having kids. And he will also have kids. मतलब जो भी whatever clan girl E clan की लड़की आ जाएगी. So now they are marrying, they are marrying and they are marrying. So अब now you see the direction. The direction is they are giving girl to B, they are giving girl to C, they are giving girl to D. Because अभी तक ये तो lady अब clan A में आ गई है, right? So clan A वाले पहले they were receiving the girl, but now they are giving the girl in the next generation. So what is the full direction? So in one generation, in filial generation 1, they are wife receivers. मतलब A is receiving, then C is receiving from D, like that. But in the next generation, they are wife givers. So in the second, A will give to B, B will give to C, and so on. So the direction again reverses in the next generation. So this is discontinuous, right? So I hope you understood it. I tried to explain it as much as I could. So I think I'm clear. Exchange mein we saw three kind of exchanges. First one was this, which is restricted exchange in two groups only. More than two groups में there is, इसको भी मैं यहाँ पे ऐसे कर देती हूँ, filial 1 में भी the direction will remain the same, filial 2 में भी direction will remain the same. So this was continuous wala, and then we will come to the last one, that is discontinuous wala, right? So these were the three kind of exchange that Claude Lévi-Strauss was talking about. So now there is criticism to his theory also, because what Claude Lévi-Strauss was saying was basically that alliance theory he gave a lot of importance to, or rather he said that descent grouping is not that important as alliances. Basically उसने ज़्यादा importance alliance theory को दिया. He said कि group solidarity maintain करने के लिए, because alliance groupings कहाँ काम आते हैं, there is like religious times पे they will be there, then आपके group में security ज़्यादा आएगी because now new people are adding to your group, ठीक है, and there is reciprocal relationships that are built in the groupings, right? At the time of war, crisis, right, they will support you. So all of this increase the survivability in some way. So this is what he was saying when he was talking about alliance and its importance. But there was criticism to this. People who were thinking that descent is more important, they criticized, saying that descent is the basis of social structure and alliances are not. Because alliance, to, as he is talking about women, exchange of women, but what if the societies are matrilineal? Usme to there is no exchange of women, na? So what about them? So that means there was criticism to Claude Lévi-Strauss's theory. But if you have to conclude, you have to say, of course, kinship is not complete if we ignore any one aspect of it, be it marriage wala aspect or alliances, and or if you ignore the descent wala part, right? So both are equally important and both constitute kin groups, kinships, and both are really important in the group. No one is more important than the other, both are equally important. So we conclude our chapter kinship. I hope you liked it. Guys, I am seeing that you are not liking the videos and you are not sharing. Please, it's important for my motivation. And now I just got some messages from students saying that I should use Hindi language as well. So if any other people who want कि मैं हिंदी भी use करूँ, so please do post in the comment section. I will try to make it more bilingual because I want to address both kind of students, and I want the audience to understand whatever language they understand, right? So please tell me that, and please any doubts post in the comment section below. Like, share and subscribe. Thank you.